Hola, this is John. I'm not an analyst. Welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be talking about the glove industry. We're gonna go deep dive into it. And yes, this is me without any script. I'm just gonna say whatever is in my head. So if I ever stutter, please forgive me, alright? I'm not so good at communicating in front of a camera. I'm still practicing and trying to get myself used to speaking in front of the camera, alright? The reason why I want to cover the glove industry is if you have a look at this graph, this share price for Top Glove, 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒, Supermax and 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒, they have actually dropped at its peak. It dropped about 40 to 60%. And at the moment, there is not much love on the glove stocks. I see that there's a lot of hate comments, there's a lot of negative reviews on the glove, and I just want to discuss with you guys whether is it still okay to invest in glove, is there still hope for glove, or is it going to be all gloomy for the glove industry. In addition to that, it's also not only our local glove stocks are getting impacted, the international glove companies are also facing the similar situation. You can see Riverstone drop about 43%. Same case for 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒. Mercato, the Polish glove manufacturer, also they have been down 46%. And 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒 also, they have actually down 38%. But if you notice something about 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒, the fall actually starts from the 22nd of January 2021. If you notice all the previous companies, all of their share price actually dropped during August and October. So this is something pretty interesting for 𝐒𝐁𝐒's case. And finally, we have these two companies who dropped the least in terms of share price. So we have Sritrang Agro Industry and also Ncell Limited. So Sritrang is a Thailand glove manufacturer company, whereas Ncell, it is from Australia. So why is the glove industry is not having so much of love, or why is the share price going down so drastically? It's because of the COVID-19 vaccine. So we all know that at the end of 2020, there's a lot of vaccine companies have started the emergency use for their vaccine, and then there's a lot of vaccination program going on right now in all over the country. So that is one of the reasons why you see the glove industry has been impacted, because if let's say there is more vaccine, means there will be less swab tests needed to be done, because people will be thinking that with the vaccine you are kinda immune to the virus, so less testing is needed. With less testing is needed means less glove also is going to be used, and also everybody is expecting that we will go back to normal, where we are not going to wear our face masks. There's a lot of events are going, everybody's going to be traveling after the vaccination and whatnot. So people are very positive in the recovery for the economy. But is that the case? I'm not too sure. We will discuss further. And hence, as a result, ASP, I think you guys know this term already. It is average selling price. Because there is this vaccination going on, means there's less swab tests will be needed. And on top of that, there's actually a lot of glove companies are ramping up their production capacity. So with the increase in supply for glove, this means that the prices of glove will eventually drop, also will fall, right? Now the main thing is that everybody's talking about is the fall of ASP, whether the hike in ASP can it maintain or not in the next few years. Like I mentioned just now, will there be a glove glut? Because there's a lot of new entrants are coming into the industry, and there's also a ramp up in production expansion. Is there going to be an oversupply in the glove industry? Well, if we take a look at the recent news, okay, sorry, this slide is a little bit busy, I know it's quite overwhelming, but generally what I'm trying to tell you from this news from The Edge is basically that even though there is a lot of ramp up in production by a lot of companies, somehow the demand for glove is still on an increasing trend in the coming years. You can see that there's a lot of news articles are talk about from Riverstone Holdings, the glove manufacturing company in Singapore itself. They also mentioned that the compound growth for healthcare glove is going to be above 20% for the next 3 years, which is until 2024. Whereas in the case for Malaysia, 𝐒𝐒𝐁𝐒 Holdings said that the supply of glove are actually unable to meet the demand in the next 3 years. They are actually indicating in 2023. And last but not least, our Malaysian Rubber Glove Manufacturers Association, the MAGMA, they also said that the glove manufacturing companies are in the oversold position of 160 billion gloves. They are predicting that the demand would still continue to remain robust until the second quarter of 2022. Basically what they were trying to highlight is that the demand for glove is still more than its supply. And I also did a little bit of research and I found out on these statistics. Just to sum it up, what is this table all about is basically trying to tell you what is the production capacity of glove in Malaysia, the rest of the world, and also what is the demand for the world glove according to Magma, as well as from the analysis from Frost and Sullivan. You can see the numbers already that is displayed over there. At the end of 2020, Magma stated that the world demand for glove is around 360 billion pieces, whereas the total production capacity in the whole world at a capacity of, let's say they produce at 100% utilization rate, is about 347 billion pieces only. So there's still a shortage of about 13 billion gloves. In 2021 also is the same thing. Even though if let's say they utilize 100% of their production capacity, there's still about 14 billion of shortage in glove. And end of 2022, they are kind of expecting maybe there is oversupply by the world demand. If let's say they execute 100% production capacity of let's say 622 billion gloves, but I'm not sure whether is it realistic for companies to actually produce at 100% capacity rate. Let's say if they are really producing at 100% capacity rate, this means that maybe they still need to expand their production again to maybe cater for any future demands. But if you can see that their world demand, they actually projected that the end of 2022, the demand for glove is going to be around like 518 billion pieces, which it will still be a shortage if let's say the production capacity is only at 80%. Because you can see, let's say if it's at 80%, they're only producing at 498 billion gloves. And that is about 20 billion gloves still in shortage. Sorry, I forgot to mention this. All of the production capacity that I just mentioned, whether it's in Malaysia or the rest of the world, basically everything is already taken into account of all of the glove manufacturers' expansion. Means like let's say Top Glove, they plan to expand their production capacity to 200 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Is it 200 billion pieces of glove? And also 𝐒𝐷𝐃 also they plan to produce about 120 billion pieces by 2024. It's already taken into account already for all of this production capacity, for this production expansion. So I just want to conclude is that even with the aggressive expansion from 𝐒𝐷𝐃, Top Glove, other major players and also the newcomers, the demand will still continue to outstrip supply at least until the end of 2022. This is based on the statistics that I have researched, and I saw the difference between the numbers of the world demand and world supply. There's still going to be a shortage anyhow until the end of 2022. Not only that, also according to Harta Lega's finding, they actually predicted that the shortage will last until 2023. Just want to share with you a little bit on the law of demand and supply. This graph is basically telling you how a shortage looks like. This means that the only way to curb the shortage is either to increase price so that the shortage will be eliminated and it will reach to its equilibrium whereby the demand will meet supply, or the second solution that they can do is by increasing their supply, which is what all of the glove manufacturers are currently doing. They are actually expanding very aggressively to meet the demand. But unfortunately, at the moment, they're still unable to meet the demand, and hence we may still see a shortage in the near future for maybe let's say the next 2 years. Okay, so I shared a little bit on what's happening about the glove industry and how's their production capacity. The main purpose of me doing this video, or I would say the main agenda for today's video, is actually I want to share with you guys on the entire gloves public listed company, whether it's in the local scene or is it in the international scene. I've actually compiled all of their financial data, and also I did a little bit of analysis on them so that you can actually have a look at it. The first item we'll be looking at is who are the local glove players and also international players. These are public listed companies. I'll be doing a little bit of the financial comparison between the local, international, and then at the end I'll compile the whole thing, the local and international, and I will do some comparison between them. And also I'll be touching upon the business expansion growth. How are they expanding so far for the past 5 years? And last but not least, I'll also share with you who is the most efficient in terms of producing the glove and also converting it into sale. in the local, international, and also the global scene. I've actually compiled a lot of data. I spent my whole weekend just on researching about the companies and also collecting data and compiling the data. So I'll appreciate it if you can smash the like button just so that I can feel that I am being rewarded for my work. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more information like this or for more contents like this. I appreciate it if you do smash the like button and also the subscribe button. And let's get right into the next slide. We are going to look at the Malaysia scene first, the local glove manufacturer. These are all of the local players. I think you guys already know. Top Glove, Hatta Lega, Kosan, Supermax, Rubberex, Comfort, and also 𝐒𝐃+. Before I dive deep into their financial data, I just want to share with you that according to the age, it is estimated that 67% of the glove supply is actually coming from Malaysia. We are actually the largest market share for producing glove and also selling glove. And then this is followed by Thailand, which provide about 18%, as well as China 10% and Indonesia at 3%. This is the market cap, enterprise value, revenue, and net profit at the trailing 12-month period. By the way, all of these numbers are denominated at Ringgit Malaysia, yeah? They are all in RM. For the international one, I also have converted in RM. So it will be much more easier if we can compare like that, just using our own local currency. You can see that Top Glove is, of course, is the largest glove manufacturing in Malaysia. And it's followed by Hatta Lega, Supermax, Kosan, and then the last one is 𝐒𝐃+. And according to their revenue and also the 5-year growth comparison, the largest 5-year growth actually is Comfort. If you notice the slides, that Comfort actually managed to have a growth of about 32.72%. And the second largest growth, it is Top Glove at 23.58%. And followed by Hatta Lega at 20.61%. In terms of its gross profit wise, surprisingly again, it is Comfort taking the #1 spot of being the most growth in terms of gross profit. They actually managed to grow at 61.1%, and it's followed by Top Glove, the second largest. They grow at about 40.54%, and then followed by Hatta Lega and Supermax. By the way, actually, I taught you guys a little bit about the, let's say, what happens when the growth of gross profit is more than the growth of revenue. I just want to highlight a little bit for those newcomers who have actually didn't watch my previous video on how I value companies. You can check it out if you want to. I'll put it at the link at the description or somewhere. Basically, what I want to share with you guys is that when the growth of gross profit is more than the growth of revenue, it actually indicates that the company has an economies of scale. So if we compare between both slides, the growth of revenue and also the growth of gross profit, we can somewhat tell that which company has the economies of scale. So it shows that companies like Top Glove, Hatta Lega, Supermax, Comfort, Rubberex, and also 𝐒𝐃+, they all have the economies of scale, except for Kosan. I don't know why their growth of revenue is lesser than their gross profit. Maybe you want to have a research on it. And in terms of their net profit wise, this is another shocking one. The largest growth in terms of net profit is actually the smallest glove manufacturer in Malaysia, which is 𝐒𝐃+. They grew about 82.8%. And this is followed by Comfort at 65% and also Rubberex at 54%. So you notice that the smaller glove player, they are the one that is growing the most in terms of net profit as compared to the big four. In terms of their gross profit and also net profit margin, you can have a look. Just want to share with you guys what are their margins like. You can see that Supermax have the largest margin. If you're wondering why, it's because they have the ability to charge their products at a very higher price, at a higher margin as compared to other glove manufacturers, because they have the OBM status. In terms of their CapEx wise, it means the capital expenditure. You can see that Top Glove and also Comfort, both of these companies are the one that is aggressively expanding their business. For Comfort, their CapEx growth is about 32.26% over the past 5 years, whereas for Top Glove, they have actually grown about 31.74%. The least growth in terms of CapEx is actually Rubberex. They didn't really spend much on expanding their business, but according to their news, they are still continuing to ramp up their production, but they are not really expanding as fierce as opposed to other companies. Okay, this is another interesting thing that I want to share with you guys is the inventory turnover of these companies. Inventory turnover, I explained in my another video, which is in my stock analysis on KESM. Just to a quick explanation on inventory turnover. Basically, inventory turnover is measured by the number of times. It's not measured by the number of days. Yeah, it is how many times does the company can convert its inventory to the cost of goods sold. In this case, the higher the inventory turnover, the better. Because once you bought your raw material, your inventory, you want it to be quickly sold out as sales. You can see that 𝐒𝐷𝐿 and Top Glove, both of these companies are the largest inventory turnover as compared to the rest of the companies. Another one is the cash conversion cycle. Also, I've explained in my previous video about the KSM stock analysis. In this case, the lower the cash conversion cycle, the better. So who are the most efficient in terms of cash conversion cycle? It is Top Glove and Supermax. And if you notice, ironically, Comfort has the highest cash conversion cycle, even though they have the highest profit and also gross profit in terms of growth. They take about, I think it's about 73 or 75 days to convert it into cash. And it's also the same for 𝐒𝐷𝐿 and 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒. Now I want to share with you guys who are the international glove manufacturer. As you can see, there's 5 countries that I'll be sharing. There's in Thailand, Poland, Australia, Singapore, and also China. So who are these companies? They are 𝐒𝐁𝐿. 𝐒𝐿 is from Australia. 𝐒𝐿 is from Poland. 𝐒𝐂 is China. I think you guys know this one. Riverstone, Singapore. 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒 and 𝐒𝐔 Healthcare. I made a mistake about 𝐒𝐔 Healthcare Corporation. 𝐒𝐔 Healthcare is actually a Malaysian-based company. But funny thing is that their company is listed in the Singapore exchange. So that's something pretty interesting. Okay, so this is their market cap, enterprise value, revenue, and also net profit in the 12-month trailing. Like I mentioned just now, all of these number that you are looking at is all denominated in Ringgit Malaysia, RM. So who is the largest in terms of the international scene? Well, the most obvious answer is 𝐒𝐂, the China company, we all know that. And this is followed by 𝐒𝐿, 𝐒𝐔, Riverstone, and then the last one is 𝐒𝐔 Healthcare. So in terms of revenue and the growth, basically who has the largest growth is actually 𝐒𝐂. This is no doubt because they have been working hard in increasing their production capacity, and also they have been delivering a very great sales, as you can see from the chart. And then this is followed by 𝐒𝐿 at 51.93% and Riverstone. Oh, if you notice in 𝐒𝐂, I actually put there 4-year growth. This means that I only took its 4 years 𝐾GR. I cannot really find 𝐒𝐂's annual report for the year 2015. I've tried to search it online, I cannot find it, so I just took its 4-year 𝐾GR. The latest annual report that I got was actually 2016, so that's the only difference between all of these companies, is that 𝐒𝐂, I took its 4 years growth, the rest is all 5-year growth. In terms of gross profit wise, it's still the same. For 𝐒𝐂, they are ranked the number 1, where they achieve 139% of gross profit growth. And then this is followed by 𝐒𝐿 at 82.8%. And then the least one is actually 𝐒𝐿 at 2.48%. So its net profit is also the same. 𝐒𝐂 this time actually they got about 200.4% of net profit growth. So that is actually very, very impressive. And the second company which is also quite impressive is 𝐒𝐿 at 146%. Both of them are actually very, very good. The least growth one is of course 𝐒𝐿. They are actually growing at only 1.01%. And you can have a look at their gross profit and also net profit margin. Just have a look at this chart if you want. You can actually pause this video to have a look. Okay, in terms of their CAPEX and CAPEX growth, you can see that again, reason why they can have such a good revenue, gross profit and also net profit is because they have been ramping up their business. They have been ramping up their production. You can see that their 5-year CAPEX growth is actually growing at 91.5%. This is also further justified at their recent news, where they actually announced that they want to increase their production capacity to producing 120 billion gloves, if I'm not mistaken. So that's actually very impressive. 𝐒𝐂, they're trying to fight against the current world number 1 glove manufacturer, Top Glove. This is something that Top Glove need to keep an eye on. And the second largest CAPEX growth is Riverstone. So Riverstone also have been actively increasing their production capacity at 13.23%. And the last one is 𝐒𝐔. They are actually not really growing that much. They are not really increasing their production. You can see that their CAPEX spending is only at 1.46% over the past 5 years. Not as impressive as others, but they are still progressing. So I think it's fine. The highest inventory turnover in this case is Riverstone, is the number 1 spot. The second spot is 𝐒𝐂, and the last one is 𝐒𝐔 Healthcare. You can have a look at it. Okay, finally we have the cash conversion cycle. So in terms of cash conversion cycle, this time 𝐒𝐁𝐄 they rank the first. This is followed by Riverstone and Mercato. So this shows that 𝐒𝐁𝐄 is actually very good at converting their sales. So kudos to their sales team. And you can see the last place is 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐿. Now that you have known the local and also the international glove manufacturers, let's have a comparison between all of these players and let's have a look at how are they performing when competing with one another. Okay, so these are the companies. In terms of market cap, so who is the largest in the entire glove industry scene? So you can see that at the moment, Top Glove is trumped the number 1 spot. They are the largest market cap, and then this is followed by 𝐒𝐁𝐄. Harta Lega is placed the 3rd, the 4th is Ncell, and then Supermax and Suitrang and whatnot. So the smallest one you can see is actually 𝐾+. Okay, so who has the best revenue in terms of trailing 12 month? You can see that Top Glove generated the most revenue, that's no surprise. This is followed by Suitrang, 𝐒𝐁𝐄, and then it follows through the chart. You can have a look at it. Gross profit wise, also the same. Top Glove is still trumping the number 1 spot in terms of amount wise. In terms of 5-year growth, 𝐒𝐁𝐄 is definitely the number 1 spot. So in terms of their net profit wise, still the same. Top Glove trump, that's the number 1 spot. In terms of the amount, in terms of the net profit growth wise, 𝐒𝐁𝐄 is ranked as the number 1 spot at 204%, and this is followed by all of the companies. You can just pause and have a look. So these are its gross and net profit margin. It's nothing much to comment on. You can see who is the number 1 guy over there is 𝐒𝐁𝐄. They have the best margin of all of these glove manufacturers. And then the second one is Supermax, 3rd one is Mercato, 4th is Top Glove, and so on. Okay, so in terms of capex wise, like I mentioned earlier, 𝐒𝐁𝐄 actually they spend a lot of money in terms of growing their business. So you can see that their 5-year capex growth is at 91.46%. Although it seems that Top Glove is also rapidly expanding their business, but they are actually growing at 3 times lesser than what 𝐒𝐁𝐄 is doing right now. So Top Glove, they need to do something about it if they want to maintain their spot as the number 1 largest glove manufacturer in the world. Okay, so what about their inventory turnover? Okay, so in terms of the industry point of view, the inventory turnover benchmark, it is at around 5.9 times, 5.8 to 5.9 times. And who has the best inventory turnover is actually Harta Lega. Okay, so Harta Lega did a very good job at converting their inventory straight away to cost of goods sold and selling their products. And then this is followed by Riverstone, Top Glove, 𝐒𝐁𝐃+, Supermax, and Kosan. So those that they are above the industry benchmark, they are considered as a very efficient company in terms of managing their operations. For their cash conversion cycle wise, you can see the number 1 spot is 𝐒𝐁𝐄. So 𝐒𝐁𝐄 is actually have a very impressive cash conversion cycle. They're actually very good at converting their raw materials and inventory into sales. And then this is followed by Top Glove, Supermax, Riverstone, Rubber Racks, and whatnot. So you can have a look. And the last place is definitely 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐿 lah. I don't know why. Maybe you want to study about their business. Maybe their management, they are not really doing a good job. Who knows? Okay, so here comes the $1 million question. Who is the best glove manufacturing company in the world? Okay, so this is a very, very tough question. I'm just gonna leave it to your own interpretation. If you want to know who are the best one, this is what I feel when you want to evaluate which one is the best, okay? So you need to fulfill these 4 criteria, alright? The number 1 is basically you want to research who has the most market share coverage. So this means that who has been generating the most revenue out of all of these glove manufacturer. Next one is basically you want to know who has the best profit margin. With best profit margin, this means that whether they have a good economies of scale or whether they have a great operation efficiency. So these are very important for a glove manufacturer company. And also you want to look at which glove company have actually been consistently growing in the past, let's say 5 to 10 years. Last but not least is who has the most efficient in terms of their production and operation. What I mean by efficient is basically who has the best inventory turnover and also who has the best cash conversion cycle. So if you manage to uncover these 4 criteria, you will most likely know who is the best glove manufacturing company. So we have come to the end of this video. I hope you guys learned something today. If you find this content useful and insightful, please help me to smash the like button and also hit the subscribe button, and also maybe comment down below on what are your thoughts about this video and the contents that I've been providing so far. I appreciate it if you can give me feedback so that I can improve my videos and also contents in the future. With that said, I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.